Alpha is one of the most beloved and mysterious characters in the Eminence in Shadow, but very few fans know the full story behind her rise from a cursed outcast to the legendary first member of Shadow Garden. In this video, we're diving deep into Alpha's complete backstory, her life before meeting Shadow, the horrifying truth behind the possession phenomenon, her connection to the ancient heroes, and how she became the strongest and most loyal member of Shadow Garden. We'll explore hidden lore from the anime, light novel, and manga, uncover Alpha's tragic past, and reveal details that completely change how you view her character. Was meeting Shadow a miracle, or was it destiny? By the end of this video, you'll understand why Alpha is far more important to the story than most fans realize. Major spoilers ahead. What if I told you that the strongest woman in Shadow Garden was once a dying outcast, abandoned by society? A girl feared by everyone around her. A girl whose fate seemed completely hopeless. Yet somehow, she would go on to become the legendary Alpha, the first member of Shadow Garden, and the woman who helped build one of the most powerful organizations in the world. But here's the shocking part. Almost everything Alpha believes about Shadow, her purpose, and even the organization she dedicated her life to was born from what started as one of Sid's biggest delusions. Today we're uncovering Alpha's complete backstory, from her origins as a descendant of heroes to her transformation into Shadow Garden's strongest commander. This is Alpha's story, and trust me, it is far more tragic than most fans realize. Heart was Alpha before Shadow. Long before she became Alpha, she was born into an elven family blessed with extraordinary talent. From an early age, Alpha was different, beautiful, intelligent, and gifted with magical abilities far beyond those of ordinary people. She possessed exceptional combat potential and a natural affinity for magic that made her stand out among her peers. Everything about her suggested she had a bright future ahead, but that future would be destroyed by a cruel curse known as possession. In the world of the Eminence in Shadow, possession is one of the most feared conditions imaginable. Victims gradually lose control of their magic. Their bodies become deformed. Society rejects them. And eventually, they are either imprisoned, abandoned, or killed. For centuries, people believed possession was simply an incurable disease. What they didn't know was that the truth was far darker. The victims were actually descendants of the legendary three heroes, and Alpha was one of them. Part 2. The fall of Alpha. As Alpha's condition worsened, her life collapsed. The people who once admired her now feared her. The beauty and talent that once made her special became meaningless. She became an outcast, a monster in the eyes of society. Imagine watching your body slowly betray you. Imagine knowing that every day brings you closer to death. That was Alpha's reality. She had no hope, no future, no one willing to save her, until one day she met a mysterious boy, a boy wrapped in darkness, a boy who called himself Shadow. Part 3. The miracle. When Sid Kaganu discovered Alpha, she was barely recognizable. Her body had become swollen and distorted by possession. Most people would have run away. Others would have killed her. But Shadow did something impossible. Using techniques he had developed through years of obsessive experimentation with magic, he cured Alpha, something believed impossible, something nobody else in the world could accomplish. For Alpha, it was nothing short of a miracle. Imagine being abandoned by everyone. Then suddenly someone appears and saves your life. Not because they pity you, not because they want something from you, but because they simply can. At that moment, Alpha saw Shadow as a figure beyond human understanding, a being who possessed knowledge and power far beyond anything she had ever witnessed. And from that day onward, her life changed forever. Part 4. Learning the truth. After being cured, Alpha began traveling alongside Shadow. During this time, Shadow casually shared what he believed was a fictional story. He spoke of a secret organization controlling the world from the shadows, a mysterious cult, ancient conspiracies, experiments, manipulation, the descendants of heroes, a hidden enemy pulling the strings behind history itself. To Sid, it was all role play, a fantasy, a performance. But Alpha discovered something terrifying. Everything Shadow said was true. The cult of Diablos actually existed. The conspiracy was real. The descendants of heroes were real. The experiments were real. The enemy was real. Shadow had somehow uncovered secrets hidden from the entire world. At least that's what Alpha believed. And from her perspective, there was only one explanation. Shadow wasn't making things up. He was an all-knowing mastermind operating on a level beyond ordinary people. Part 5, Birth of Shadow Garden. Alpha became Shadow's first follower, the very first member of what would become Shadow Garden. But she didn't stop there. Using her intelligence and leadership skills, Alpha began searching for other victims of possession, girls abandoned by society, girls suffering exactly as she once had. One by one, they were rescued. One by one, they were cured. And eventually, the 7 shadows were born. Beta, Gamma, Delta, Epsilon, Beta, Eta, and Alpha. Together they formed the foundation of Shadow Garden. But among them all, Alpha stood apart. Not only was she the first, she was also the leader, the one responsible for transforming Shadow's dream into reality. While Shadow was busy pursuing his fantasies, Alpha was building an organization, recruiting members, gathering intelligence, establishing influence, managing operations across entire nations. In many ways, Shadow Garden exists because Alpha made it exist. Part 6. Alpha's true strength. Most fans know Alpha is powerful, but many underestimate just how powerful she really is. Alpha combines incredible swordsmanship with immense magical power. Her combat ability places her among the strongest individuals in the series. But her greatest weapon isn't strength, it's intelligence. Alpha is a strategist, a leader, a planner. She can analyze situations quickly and make decisions that affect thousands of lives. Unlike some members of Shadow Garden, who rely primarily on brute force, Alpha excels in nearly every category: combat, leadership, tactics, intelligence gathering, organization. She's the complete package, which is exactly why Shadow entrusted her with leading Shadow Garden. Part 7, the saddest part of Alpha's story. Now we arrive at the most tragic part of Alpha's character. Alpha genuinely believes Shadow is a supreme mastermind. She believes every action he takes has deeper meaning. Every word contains hidden wisdom. Every coincidence is part of a grand plan. But viewers know the truth. Most of the time, Sid has absolutely no idea what's happening. The dramatic irony is heartbreaking. Alpha dedicates her entire life to understanding Shadow's vision. Yet the man she worships is often improvising everything. Somehow, despite all logic, his actions keep working. Again and again and again. This creates one of the most fascinating relationships in anime, because Alpha's faith is not based on lies. Shadow really did save her. Shadow really did change her life. Shadow really did give her hope when nobody else would, whether he intended to or not. Conclusion. Alpha's journey is one of the greatest stories in the Eminence in Shadow. She began as a dying outcast, abandoned by the world. She became the first Shadow Garden member, the leader of a global organization, a warrior feared by enemies, and a symbol of hope for countless victims. But beneath her strength lies a simple truth. Alpha never forgot the day Shadow saved her, the day a hopeless girl was given a second chance. And that's why, no matter what happens in the future, Alpha will always remain one of the most important characters in the entire series. So what do you think? Is Alpha the best member of Shadow Garden, or do you think another member deserves that title? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more deep anime lore and character breakdowns.